Run it up. Run it up.
What is up, everybody? It's good to see you all. There's a weird amount of people in here. That's really cool. First things first, as always, this is a complete crapshoot if the audio is good. So if audio is good, leave those thumbs up emojis. Let me know. I am trying to figure out how to get these comments to look or be bigger, because right now they keep showing up. I wish I could just permanently make them like this. What's up, everybody? Let me go through and just start saying hi to people. But yeah, give me that thumbs up emoji if audio is good. I'm doing a different kind of a setup today than I normally would. Normally, I would just have the mic run straight into the Komodo X, but I'm not using the Komodo X today because it does have an audio issue and it has to be sent in. So today we're running an S1R Mark II and the S5 Mark II, but we're using that weird Comica VM40 wireless shotgun. It's a pretty cool piece of kit it's a cool piece of kit, but the implementation, like how they actually built it, is not great. It is not intuitive at all. So most of my concerns from audio, even though I can see the audio levels looking good on Blackmagic or on Ecamm's side, who knows with this thing. But it is a cool bit of kit, but Rode or Deity needs to make a version of this and make it much more robust and just more intuitive, because you could take the transmitter in your fingers and crush it. Like, it's the most cheaply made thing I've ever used. Great customer service though. I literally broke it the first time I tried using it. The clip that goes into the shoe just snapped right off. I emailed them and they just sent me over an entire new kit. So cool design, cool idea, bad workmanship and implementation, great customer service. Marcus Robinson, the GOAT. Me and Marcus have been talking lately. It's been a lot of fun. Just an incredibly talented and kind human being. I hope we get to see each other soon. We met at Cinegear. We didn't really get to talk too much, but we had a good time. What's up, Rainey? The best accent on YouTube has to go to Thomas right now. And he also did great ZR video, kind of like podcast style. It was a lot of fun to watch. We got Mac in the house. It's good to see Mac is everywhere. It's fun to see Mac in all the videos. Yeah, that's me. So hi, my name's Brandon. If you haven't been here before, if this is your first time, Brandon Talbot, just some random dad in Salt Lake City, 43-year-old trying to be a YouTuber. Better late than never, though. Trevor Smith, we're here for it. We're here for you. Lenses. Let's talk about the lenses, actually. So I am using an autofocus lens on that camera, and it is the 50 millimeter version of this little guy, which is, we're going to talk about these more. This is the Sigma Contemporaries. These are fantastic little lenses. I mean, you could throw this at somebody's face and cause some permanent damage. They're built very well. But yeah, that's what is on the S5 II. Then we have a really fun lens on the S1R Mark II, which is the Voigtlander 21 millimeter f1.4. I have a 20, that's what this one is, but the f2 just couldn't give me the look I was looking for. So I would have loved to match them, color match them basically by using the same lens. But I went with the Voigtlander so I could get a little more depth of field. Vulcan, just a great freaking hat and a name. Welcome aboard. Let's see, Dimitri, what's up? I want to know where you're from, Dimitri, because that's a cool last name, and you look like you're in a Danish death metal band. Mighty Midgie, yo yo yo. Azrael, what's up? Everybody, give a round of applause to Azrael because my boy just bought my two DZO Aural lenses from me, which I didn't want to sell, but I didn't use them. They were basically in perfect condition, not being used, and Azrael will use them much more than I will. I had a 25 and a 50, but because of his wonderful contributions to this channel, we're going to be able to get that second ZR. So thanks. Let's see, Jason, what's up, buddy? Augustine, Florida, Miami, Florida. We got two, Bay Area. Okay, secure location. Ukraine. Okay, I love it. I must be viewing from the furthest out, Georgetown, South America. I'm sorry, Ukraine wins that one, but you're in a close second so far. Atlanta, Georgia, James. Thanks for hopping on, Jay. Also good to see you, man. I hope you're doing all right. And I wish I could have connected with you out on that trip, but because of the ZR's release window, it actually like threw a huge wrench in my trip. I was supposed to be there an extra 2 days, and because they decided to go a day earlier at 12:01 a.m., it was like, oh, I have to leave now. So I'm sorry about that. Montreal, what's up, my fellow Canadians? Mark, man, good to have you. Thanks for the support over the last couple weeks. It's good to see you in the comments all the time. Audio is good. Okay, good. Tom, what's up? Thanks for joining. Holy shit, we got 70 people. That eclipses my personal best by like double. So that's pretty badass. What profile are we in on the S1R Mark II? Just standard. Standard. And then if I can share my screen here, allow. Is it going to show it? Oh, It's not showing it. That's really weird. Well, I guess because my screen, I can't, I'm just using the standard profile, and then through the camera effects through Ecamm, I kind of tweak the colors just a little bit more to my liking. It really wants to push this magenta. I'm a big fan of cooler and greens in the shadows. And so I kind of push that way through the Ecamm software. The one with 32-bit float. Yeah, I think so. I think the Comica has 32-bit float. I've never used 32-bit float. I will be using it much more in the ZR for sure because it makes it easy. Like if I got to go through like an extra bit of software to do it, I just don't like doing it. Again, just trying to get files off the Comica because you can record internally on this thing, but trying to get files, I've had 3 fail. So this is technically my 4th mic. Each one of them you can record internally. After like 2 uses, you basically plug the mic into the computer, and then you have to select a certain profile so that you can move those files. That just stopped working altogether. So after like 2 tries, 3 tries, it just stopped working. So now I just relegate it to this particular setup. I don't even bother using it for anything of importance. Terrence, what's up? Atlanta, hot Atlanta. Man, I haven't been to Atlanta in a while. Atlanta's fun. It's crazy, but it's fun. Preston, what's up, buddy? Yes, I'm live. Kirk, great football photo. I was trying to figure out like what teams they were, but it's too small. I am starting a show called 70s. What do you think? You freaking one-upper. Go for it. At some point it would be fun to restart the 16 Stops channel. It's just me and Josh have so much going on. It wasn't that we didn't like working with each other. We didn't like doing the videos. They're super fun. They're way more involved than you might think. Like they are more difficult and more time consuming than you think. Even when we got like really efficient at it. But I've never been this busy in my whole life. Like this year has been kind of crazy as far as work. And I know Josh has a ton going on. And he's got some personal stuff going on. Nothing bad, but I don't want to say for him what's going on. And I just know like right now is not a good time. Maybe next year it's something we could start up. It just really depends on schedules. Let's see. Gabriel, what's up, man? I've been seeing you comment, so thank you for the support. What's up, BT? I like the ZR. Viltrix has a new... Yeah, I just saw that this morning. That's kind of crazy. I know Tilta announced one, and then Viltrox was like, we're just going to swoop in here and be first to market. Oh, my goodness. Kevin Fickling. If you guys don't know, Kevin is one of the most interesting dudes on the entire planet. If you're not following Kevin, you're doing yourself a disservice. He is a master photographer. He's a master storyteller. He has this crazy production company that he won't tell anybody about. He is a genius when it comes to Leica history. If you need to know anything on Leica, he can tell you it. And I talk to him all the time about it and abuse our friendship in that way because he doesn't get anything out of me. He's a master. He's like a pit master for barbecue. What else does Kevin do? He does it all. It's crazy. He's so obsessive. I love it. Since you use the ZR, how do you feel about it being used as a still camera from time to time? I'm sure it's fine because it's a Z6 III without the mechanical shutter. For me, a bunch of people ask like, hey, how do you feel about the photos? I'll never use it for photos, the ZR. I need to have an EVF or an optical viewfinder if I'm going to shoot photos. That's the experience I want. I don't like looking through a screen and taking photos. So that's just not my jam. I also want a mechanical shutter. That's the other reason why I wouldn't use it. But if you like that style, I mean, if you're shooting them every once in a while, like if you're in a jam, sure, it'll work, right? As long as, considering it's that partially stacked sensor, I don't think like readout speed's going to be the issue. But yeah, if you're just using it once in a while, I'm sure it'd be great. Hey man, I'm in my 40s too, and I'm on the same type of journey. but your work is phenomenal. Well, thank you, and good luck on the journey. Being in your 40s and being on the internet and trying to compete with a bunch of 20-year-olds is kind of tough. But at this point, like, Cam just calls me grandpa, and I've embraced it, especially since Cam is only like 5 years younger than me. Stupid question. What about that Hulk poster behind you? Greetings from CH. What's the question? You just brought it up. I love the Hulk. So fun fact, that's actually, if you watched my last video, it was on Joe, my FJ. Joe's full name is Joe Fixit, or the Gray Hulk. JF, FJ. There you go. It's clever. Nobody gets a crisp high five, though, because I had to tell you. What's up? The Hustle Guinea Pig. I like that name. Your video made me convinced without a doubt about the ZR. Fabulous stuff. Well, great. I hope it works out for you. I'm not trying, when I make these videos, I'm not trying to convince anybody. I don't really like doing comparisons. As they say, comparison is the thief of joy. And truthfully, if we're going to talk about the ZR for a second, the ZR can't be compared to anything because it's not like anything out. Yeah, it might have a ZV-E1 body, but then it has a ton of stuff that makes it cinema-like, but it omits some very cinema things. It's a very unique camera that can serve both the absolute beginner and the seasoned vet. I don't think it's great for everything. It's not a production camera. People are like, it's not an A-cam. It isn't, unless what you're shooting doesn't require a production camera. Like, it could be my A camera, because even though I have this, I'm not on set. I'm not being asked to run a Teradek and a bunch of other things. So it definitely could be a camera. It's just a very interesting camera. And the point of my videos is to show you what makes it interesting. A lot of people have been asking me if they should buy it. I can't tell you that. Like, I can say whether it's good for some things and maybe not great for other things, but also at the same time, like, I don't know if I would listen to me either, because nobody has it except for the really cool kids like Maddie and Gerald. It's the first time Nikon's ever like given out their cameras to like try without a chaperone. Like, we had a chaperone there. And so it's just, we're going to talk more about the ZR, obviously. That's kind of like the goal of today. But super fun camera, and I hope it works out for you. But again, I think everybody on here is an adult. If you're buying it, like, make sure it's the right move for you. It's the right move for me because this is what I shoot on. And it will make a fantastic B camera or C camera to any of these cameras, you know? Like, it just, as a red shooter, it made sense for me. Glad to be here. Is it Miggy or Midgy? I'm thinking Miggy. Miggy? I'm sorry. Hey, from Spain. I wish Jaime was here. Then he could teach me some great Spanish phrases. The Spain kind of Spanish. Let's go. What's up, Charles? Thanks for hopping in. The ZR is replacing my FP. In this case, it is probably a worthwhile investment because you're getting a bigger screen that articulates. That was my only hang up with the FP. And Cinema D&G, like, you're actually probably going to be saving some space, even though you're shooting on like a red MQHQ level of bit rate. The Cinema D&G is, wow, that's a lot of data. Hello from New York. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Ooh, from Germany? Sprechen Sie Dick. That's one of my favorite lines from Dodgeball. I think it's Dodgeball. Might be Zoolander. Yeah, I got you. So excited for the RL to come in on Friday. We'll spam you all with the DZO content. It really is just a beautiful freaking lens. Like I said, I wish I had 2 or 3 more to have like a full set. You got the best ZR videos so far. Made me think about selling my 6K Pro and picking up a ZR for underwater housing and travel videos. So, do I think it can compete with a 6K Pro on image quality? Yes. It's been a while since I've had the 6K Pro. But outside of that, they're so vastly different. Vastly different. So that's the big thing. Like, people are thinking about, I've had a bunch of people going like, hey, I was thinking about getting a KX, but now I'm going to get a ZR. They're wildly different cameras. And if you were going to get a KX simply for image quality, then you probably shouldn't be buying a KX. Like, this is meant to do like production-y things. And if you buy it, you're probably buying it for production, which means you know why you're getting it. If you're torn between a KX and a ZR for an A-cam, I would definitely go the KX. The ZR is, if you are meant to be on set, if you're going to do some commercial stuff, some paid work, I don't know if I would trust the ZR to do it. Do I think it'll do a bang-up job in a bunch of other scenarios? Sure. But just know why you're buying the camera. Like, I see the 6K Pro and the ZR being very different cameras, very different post workflow, but very similar in image quality. Just my 2 cents. I don't want to talk you into something or out of something. Alabama. Thomas, it's good to have you here, man. What part of California, Mark, man? No one has compared the feature set of the ZR to the Fujifilm X-H2S. Is it not considered a competitor of sorts? I don't have any experience with the X-H2S. And, I mean, maybe they're similar in price, but I would say that's probably where it ends, other than some, I mean, form factor, they're not really that similar. The ZR is smaller, the screen is far bigger, post workflow is going to be completely different. Image quality, I'd probably give the dynamic range to the X-H2S. But yeah, it's two very different ways of thinking about a camera for me to compare. And again, like, I just don't like comparing cameras. It doesn't really do much. Like, I will be doing a kind of a comparison with these two. That way you can get an idea of how good the dynamic range is and the colors. But I'm not going to compete it. I'm not going to compare it to anything else. I think it's a disservice to either camera in the comparison. Like, I wouldn't compare it to my S1R Mark II or my S5 Mark II. They're beautiful, amazing cameras in their own right, and they serve different purposes. Whoa, bro. You don't have to be doling out money. That's incredibly kind of you, though, Preston. I can buy another box of Hot Pockets now. Much love. Been appreciating the content lately. Lunch on me. Dude, that's super nice of you. Thank you so much. Really like your work. Much love from DC. Thanks, Deuce. I appreciate it. I've never been to DC. Holy crap. Yeah, do me a favor. If you guys... Holy shit, we're up to 103 people? What is happening right now? That's crazy. That's nuts. All right. Man, I don't know if I'm going to get through comments with that many. Holy crap, I'm not even halfway through. Guys, I've never had this issue. This is nuts. Smash. Markman says smash the like button. Smash it. We got 107 people in here. 31 likes. That's pretty good. I think we can do better. Bro. Hey, I don't twerk. I don't dance. I'm not Brandon Washington or Jarrell. But I will give you a crisp high five and maybe a sexually explicit GIF later through Instagram. I have the Monstro VistaVision as well. Well, Team Monstro, I wish companies made stuff for it. Kipper Tie is still making stuff for it. That's where I've pretty much got all my cool accessories for it. Kipper Tie has been great. And there's another company right now that's just started to make Red approved mini mags that are even faster. So I wish I knew off the top of my head what the name was, but this is a very special camera, and I'm doing everything in my power not to sell it because it is so good. The image is so good, and it can do some really cool things that the DSM-C3 line can't. But also it just has intrinsic value. Hey, what's up, Ted? Loved the Joe video. Yeah, Joe Fix It. That's the Gray Hulk from Marvel. It's a gray FJ, FJ, JF, Joe Fixit. Let's see, the ZR effect. It's like the whole internet is talking. Yeah, I was really surprised to see Maddie, how full bore he is, and I'm stoked how well his video is being received. They were smart. Nikon let him borrow that camera for a good long while, and he was able to make a great video. Me, Kyle, and Johnny only had the camera for 5 hours. Crazy. Yep, finding OLPF is crazy hard. Again, go through Kippertie. They make a bunch of them. I have an infrared for this one. You can actually get like glimmer glass OLPFs. You can get skin softening ones. It's crazy. Dude, what is happening right now? You people are going nuts. I second Preston's message. Your content has stood out recently. You clearly put in so much work. And dude, thank you so much, man. You guys are gonna start making me blush here. Zach Mayfield. If you guys aren't watching Zach is one of the funniest human beings I've ever met. And I miss you dearly, Zach. I wish we could see each other more often because I just giggle every time we hang out. Let's see. Hi, Brandon. Was expecting the streaming from Joe. I mean, there is a legitimate possibility that I will take it into some remote location and do a live from wherever I am. I'm getting Starlink for it. And then once we got that, then yeah, I think I can make it work. We'll see. I don't know how good upload speeds are, but we'll try to make it happen. NFL films. Oh, Kentucky. Sweet. Dude, that's rad. Colton, what's up, buddy? Have you been taking any photos with the camera? No, I didn't. Let's see. Do you think it would be good for wedding photography as well? It could be good for the cinematography. It's not what I would trust for photography because it doesn't have a mechanical shutter and I'm looking through that screen rather than a viewfinder. I don't feel nearly as in the moment and creative without a viewfinder. People can, I personally can't. This was the Nikon Red camera. And so when we got an opportunity to shoot with it, photos never even crossed our mind. It was, we get to shoot with this new Red camera. Let's shoot with the Red camera. Obviously, I'm going to be doing more of that when I get my pre-order in. But no, for me, it's purely, my interest is purely in video with that camera. You guys should totally restart 16 stops. Like I said, we'd love to. We'd love to. Let's see. He has. Yep. Me too, buddy. Me too. That right there. You want to see like my favorite lens. This sucker. That's Kevin's fault right there. Let's see. Okay. People are throwing in questions, but I want to quickly, we'll get back to these comments. I did not expect this, guys. This is crazy. I've never had this many people in a live, and I will do my best to get through everything. I will try to be like that one, performer that after the concert stays after for the entire show to meet and greet everybody. I'm going to do my best here on that. But there is a couple of topics that I want to cover because I think you'd be interested. So first of all, the first one, gear for sale, and then / Discord. There's a ton of stuff. Yeah, this is a shameless pitch to buy my shit. Asriel just bought my Arl. But I have a bunch of stuff that I'm selling because I am not a person to hold on to stuff no matter how cool it is if I'm not using it. So there is quite a few things that I am selling because I simply don't use it. All right. If you would like to know what that is, I have no way of showing you right now, and I apologize. So just hit me up on Instagram, Brandon Talbot, send me a DM, and I can send you the list of what I'm selling. And most of it is camera gear, but there are some other few like funky things. This is my second channel, even though it's my main channel. There are a bunch of things from my main channel, which was tech and fitness, that I have that I've never used that I'm selling. Like I have the Light Phone 2 and the Light Phone 3. They're still wrapped. They're still sealed. I thought I was going to use them for that channel to do some tech stuff, and I never did. I have some stuff from 8 Sleep that I never used. So anyway, hit me up. Second thing, far more important thing, is a Discord. I've worked with my friend Jesse, who's helped create Dave Herring's Discord. He's made me one. I'm very lazy, and it's been kind of overwhelming to try to get a bunch of other things together, but community is hugely important for me. And Discord seemed like a very easy, low maintenance way of getting people together so we can talk and have fun. But yeah, without there being like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I've got a Discord. Now, I've always wanted to figure out how to add extra value beyond the YouTube thing. And there will be a very cheap way to get that extra value. So it's a paid for option. I think it's going to be like $5. But one thing that I found that people are asking for that is hard for me to deliver because there's a lot of hoops I have to jump through, both in like the workflow and then also making sure people don't use that, the stuff that I give them, the data that I give them for their own personal gain. And that is like footage. So I had a bunch of people ask me for the ZR footage. I have a bunch of people asking me for KX footage. So through the Discord, if you do that payment thing, anytime I test a camera or get a camera in and you want to see RAWs from the photos, JPEGs, and then any of the video files, I'm going to make a huge folder on it, dump all the footage in there, and you will have access to that. Again, the only thing I ask is that you don't use it in any of your work and like try to, pass it off as your own. I've had that happen twice now, and it's just a very unpleasant conversation. And even though I would love to give it out for free, it feels like if there's just a tiny little bit of a paywall, there's less of a chance that happens. So I'm stoked. Like with the new ZR, like those red files are different than the red files that you get out of here. And that's one thing I want you to be able to experience. And I don't think anything on YouTube is going to do the camera justice. And so I want you to see that for your, with your own eyes on your own computer. That way you can tell whether or not it's a good image. So I will be offering that soon enough. I don't even have the Discord link. I'll have to figure it out and then post that somewhere. But just know that will be available soon. Thank you for that. Okay, we can put that away. We are currently talking about the Nikon ZR. Let's see. Since we've got all these questions, that's what we're doing here. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. How you feel about the camera not having open gate? I mean, I would love for it to have open gate. And we know the sensor is capable of it. It's really interesting. I talked to... God, who did I talk to? Who did I talk to about this? I can't remember, but we had a talk about open gate. And it is not as easy as just like flipping a switch and then your camera has open gate. It actually becomes hardware related, and I did not know this. So even though it is capable of doing it, it is more work than I previously thought. Now, I'm still optimistic that they will do it because they said they will try to do anything they can as long as the demand is there for it. There were 3 things that I saw probably the most demand for. An additional exposure tool like false color. It needs to be in there. We're demanding it. Open gate and anamorphic support. I bet those are the 3 things we see first. Down the road, I would love to see more red specific stuff. My wish list, red control app, stoplights and goalposts, edge focus peaking. If they can give me those additional things to the ZR and never update it again, I would be stoked. And if they can't, if there's another bigger, beefier version that comes down the road with like a Z8 sensor, I'm praying that it's in that. I actually had a big long talk with Jared this morning, learned some really interesting things that I can't share, private conversation, but I'm hopeful and optimistic for the future of Nikon and Red. Have you tried using one of your Leica APO lenses on the Nikon? I don't have a Leica APO lens, unfortunately. I've only tried them once, the 21 SL APO, and I would love to have some APOs on a Nikon. Unfortunately, you can only put like, M mount APOs on it for the time being, and they would be amazing. That is why one of the things I was going to talk about, did I put it on here? Nope, I didn't. These little contemporary lenses from Sigma. You guys can see that, right? I think there's enough light on it. These F2s are incredible. They are so sharp. They rival the APOs in some way on sharpness. They're super small. They're not that expensive. So this is probably what I'll be investing in for the Nikon. Now, I'm going to probably get the Sigma E-mounts and use that Mega adapter to do it because they don't really make these for the Z mount. But they also announced a 24, a 35, and a 50 in the F2. So Sigma is making those, which is great because right now I have the 20, the 35, and the 65, if I remember right. Anyway, this is kind of the line that I think I'll put on the ZR along with my M mount lenses. And so it just uses like, right now I've got like my 50 Summilux. I absolutely love the way this looks on the Monstro, so I'm eager to put it on the ZR. But this is the Voigtlander 28. This is an amazing lens. F1.4, F1.5, but they just go on to this simple little adapter. Boop. And then that will go on the camera, and that will just make for a very itty bitty package with really good image quality, super fast if you need that, shallow depth of field. The only problem with the Voigtlander Leica combo, you start running into color matching issues because they're photography lenses, they're not cinema lenses. But I mean, if you're running in the same color space, like IPP2 red wide color gamut, like it's going to be easier to match than not. But those are kind of the two sets of lenses that I'll use, these and those, because the ZR, the thing that appeals to me is the size. I actually had a call with Condor Blue yesterday about what I would like to see in a cage, and I was like, I'm probably not going to use a cage. If you could make me a base plate and a grip like IDS does, sign me up. We talked about a potential design for a cage that I had that would make it so you could just take off the parts that you didn't want. And so we'll see. And I also asked them for some new magnetic type of accessories so I could just start slapping stuff against my car when I wanted to. And for that size of a camera, I think magnets are an awesome way to go. But anyway, yeah, those are the lenses I will be rocking with the ZR until I've got some more money and want to buy maybe different cinema lenses. And then my Remuses, of course, when I have the Mofage Poco. Let's see. It's funny, I bought the R5C just to say I can do photography if I need, but I lied to myself. I rigged that camera as video with cage, hence not using the ZR for the photo. Yeah, I get it. Like if it's massive, like I don't want to take photos with it, although that's literally what I do with this camera. The Monstro I take like infrared photos with. Let's see. What's up, Big Cook? The Z8 overheats in the 120 frames per second, even in small clips. I'm wondering if the ZR is the same. Well, it didn't for us, and I've heard there's a couple of reasons for this, and them moving the battery out of the grip and moving it to the side of the camera takes the battery away from the sensor, and that reduces heat quite a bit. Putting the card in the battery slack door also reduces the heat. But I can tell you just from my experience, we could not get it to overheat. It was one of the hottest days of the year, and we drove out to a place that's kind of like the salt flats, but it's dirt. It's not hard salt, but it's bright white. So it's just a bounce. 98 degrees out in the air, but on the sand, like where we were, it's probably 115, 120. We did not turn the cameras off. We had them going, but not always recording. But they were on for 5.5-ish hours is how long we had the camera for. Obviously, the last like half hour, it started cooling down. But for the first 4.5, 5, just stupid hot. And at one point, Johnny had accidentally left his camera rolling on a short tripod right above the sand. So about as hot as you can get. 40 minutes straight, I think is how long it ran. Never got a warning. We didn't see a warning all day long. Does that mean it will never overheat? No. Matt Johnson got it to overheat. Jeff from Nikon hit me up and he said it took 90 minutes of 6K 60 frames a second recording in R3D to get it to overheat. That still doesn't mean that it couldn't overheat in other conditions. Like, I don't know how it does in humidity, but in the dry heat, it seems like it performs really well. In 4K 120, I doubt it'll overheat at all. And then also, like, for me, I'm really excited because I've never once shot that long, ever. I've done, like, hour-long takes at, like, 6K 24 or 8K 24 if I'm doing an interview, but that's it. Like, so the way I plan on shooting the ZR is for shorter clips. I don't think I'll ever have an overheating issue. The S1R Mark II will overheat, but again, I've only had warnings. I've never actually had it overheat on me because I don't run it that long. When me and Kyle shot the like Yosemite Valley kind of interview thing, I totally forgot and left it in the 8K and shot. And that was about 30 minutes and it didn't overheat. And that was a very hot day. That was in the 90s, low 90s. But I just don't have that style of shooting where I have to worry about it. Others might, but I know I'm not going to. Let's see, FSB. I'm liking the ZR. I like the red look, but not the Rubik's Cube Komodo body. The ZR seems like a little cam, like the little cam to have. Yeah, you know, that's one of my big pushes for the ZR is just simply how small it is. It's such a small but fun camera. Oh, I got through that one. Do you think Gerald was a little hard on his review? No, I don't think there's a line of hard or not hard. Because the people that would be like, oh, he's super hard on it, I think it's interesting because I haven't seen somebody yet that thought that has actually used the camera. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Gerald was hard or not, I think is irrelevant until you've used the camera too. You've done the exact same test that he that he has, and you come to a different conclusion. I don't. From basically every YouTuber I've met, they really don't have anything to gain by being extra hard on a camera. I don't think that really serves them. Like Peter McKinnon, like people think, you know, he shills for Canon. Yeah, he's an ambassador, but he's actually more critical of their cameras than a lot of other people that get Canon cameras to test in, which is, like personally, I think Pete's cool for that. Let's see. Does the Z6 III have different dynamics outside of the R3D? I already have one, but the ZR FOMO is real. Does the Z6 III have different dynamics outside of the R3D? Do you mean like I'm not quite sure what you mean, Tom. If you can clarify, let me know. But the ZR has better image quality than the Z6 III. I have a Z6 III. It's right over there. And it's a pretty good camera. From a photo side, it's a really good camera. From video side, it's pretty good. I think the ZR is good for beginners that are getting into a cinema camera, but I think we need to wait until it's put through its paces. Yeah, like right now, like there's a lot of hype, and I know I'm probably not helping. But yeah, I think like my job as a YouTuber allows me a certain amount of risk that other people can't take. Like it makes sense for me in this job, given the role that I have, to get a ZR. Like I can justify it through a bunch of different videos that I make. Um, I've got some security and backing because I've been a Red user forever. So those videos will probably perform better than if somebody new was coming to Nikon because I already have some sort of authority, like social proof. But for somebody else, if they're like, "Oh, my business depends on this," and they're gonna move to the ZR, like I don't know if that's like a great move for you yet. Like I would wait. But also B&H, you can like return stuff. If I buy it and like a week and a half later, I'm like, "Oh, this isn't what I thought it was gonna be." After using it for that long, I can return it. But I have my hopes. Ah, crap. Here we go again. This is for your blue pills, Grandma. Thanks, buddy, but I don't need them. Thoroughly enjoyed your ZR video, one-way hunting. Owning a Z6 III and having always wanted around Red, this seems like a no-brainer. Yeah, Red's workflow is really interesting because you don't get thumbnails like other cameras. Can I show you real quick? Let's see. So here is... Okay, guys, I'm going to take you through like the file structure of my Red. So this is my Red Komodo X, right? So you get this like interesting file. This is... Then you get all this. And that's that was like one take, right? That was like my A-roll for a video that we did on the ZR. And it's broken up into these little 4 gigabytes, sorry. So each one of these is like 4 gigabytes, and there's some pros and some cons to it. So that is your current Red file. But if we go into ZR, where is the ZR? Do I not have it? Oh crap, I put it on the other thing. Sorry, I'll just have to explain. If we were to look at a normal ZR R3D, which is the new one, the R3D NE, it's no longer a bunch of 4 little, it's just one of those Red files. But what makes this difficult is there's no thumbnail. Like I can't peruse and be like, oh, this is the file that I want. This is the clip that I really like, and then I can drop it in there. Like you can't see any of that. It would be great in the future if they could figure that out. I think Strata is figuring that out right now, a software company that's really badass. But yeah, they're very different files. This is also why I want to do the Discord thing, because you're like, oh, I'd love to have a Red. And then you buy one and you're like, holy shit, this is super weird. And a lot of people don't like it. I love it, but a lot of people don't. Let's see. Nikon really dropped the ball on the flagship Z9 since we have seen lack of updates on the Z9. I wonder if the Red... Yeah, I have not been a Nikon person, so I can't weigh in as to whether or not they dropped the ball. But what it seems like from just being, from the outside looking in, Nikon does a really good job of updates. We've seen other companies, Sony, not update their cameras for years. So who knows? Who knows what the Z9 will get? Who's on the S9 gang? Chime in. I am not in that gang. If you have had Nikon Z6 II and Red Komodo, would you get the ZR? I'd need to know more. Like, what are you trying to accomplish with those two cameras that you can't and you would need the ZR for? I would ask that of anybody looking to get a new camera. If you're trying to replace a camera with another camera, or you're trying to get a new camera, like what is that thing that you're looking to do with the new camera? I love gear. I love gear. but gear hype can get you in trouble. I'm trading in one of my Z8s for that ZR. Oh, that is a ballsy move, sir. But Trevor, you know what you need better than any of us. Jay, Super Chat 20. Man, I don't know. Guys, thank you so much. Holy crap, we're up to 137 people. That's nuts, guys. Crazy. Just crazy. That's wild. We could be here for a while. Having fun, of course. Step Brothers. Oh, that's right. Is it Step Brothers where he says Spreckensy dick? All right. I'll give it to you, Bill. Is the ZR a good camera to introduce someone to Red? That's a good question, and I'm kind of torn. No, because really all you're introducing them to is kind of like a watered down version of just the codec. And the things that make Red great, yes, the codec, the sensor, but the tools that come in a Red camera are really what make it fun and easy to use. People look at these things and they get really intimidated. These are the easiest cameras in the world to operate. If I gave my KX to my wife and I gave her my S1R Mark II, I promise you she could work that thing. She can operate that thing, whereas the S1R Mark II, her brain would melt. They're so simple and easy to use. So the ZR is not that. The ZR is still 95% Nikon, 5% Red. It might even be like 99% Nikon, 1% Red. I don't think it's a great camera to be introduced to Red because it emits so many of those things that makes Red great. But it does introduce them into a Red-like workflow, which is a good thing. Like if they're planning on going full-blown Red, it does make that transition a little easier. Whenever I meet someone in Spain, I always say mucho because a lot of people know what it means. And hi from South Africa. I was in South Africa 2 years ago on a safari, and it was just the freaking best. Oh, I miss it. All right. See, Thomas. Another fella from Spain. Nice. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Cook is awesome. I love Big Cook. Are you not going by Big Cook anymore? Is it Jeremiah now? But I agree. I just love listening to his takes. He keeps it 100. People need to get on that Zine CF train. I think Washington's really a big fan of those. I've never tried them. Tried the Nikon ZR's footage and was impressed by its flexibility, but their sample footage is rather dry and flat. A more interesting Red. I don't know. It is kind of I'm not putting my name into this at all, but from what I've seen on the ZR, it either looks fantastic, like the Andy Axe footage that they got of the lady that was shooting musk oxen. That looks incredible. And then I've seen other footage where I'm like, this is garbage. But if we really think about it, that's kind of applicable across the board of any camera over the last 10 years. I know if I really wanted to, I could make this look like shit, which is crazy. I held the ZR, and it's interesting. It is. It's so tiny, it doesn't make a lot of sense. New word, production-y. Yeah, well, as long as you understood what it means. Martin, greetings from Austria. What's up, Martin? Let's see. If you shoot with a Komodo and a Nikon Z6 III as a B cam, would you buy the ZR to replace the Z6 III? That's a tough one. If you're talking purely in image quality terms from video, yeah, I would. Let's see. Hey, Brandon, what's up? As a Red and Sony owner, the ZR makes total sense to me. I actually took delivery of the Mega adapter yesterday. Sweet. It's crazy that Nikon does that. Let's be honest. It's wild that they let a third-party accessory allow a competing brand's lenses to work as good as they do on their platform. I mean, you look at Canon and they're like Heismaning everything they can, and Nikon's like, just bring it all to us. I think it's incredibly smart what Nikon is doing. Pre-ordered the ZR for a B cam to my Komodo, but the lack of R3D flavors has me worried. I do docs. I mean, if it's your B cam, a B cam for a documentary. I'm not super worried about the image quality failing you. I'm worried about potential overheating, potential like the rigging of the camera. Like that camera is really not designed to do ultra long takes. Because if you're filming in an R3D, you're going to need like a 2 terabyte card to get more than like 90 minutes out of it. That's a big card, but also you're going to have to rig up like a V-mount battery, because if not, then you're pulling the camera off of the tripod. You're having to open up the battery door to get to the media. It's just not a great camera if you have to get to the media quickly or if you need to shoot really long takes. And as a documentary film person, I'm thinking purely when you sit down for an interview. If you're doing just regular B cam stuff like pickup shots, I think you'll be fine, depending on the glass. Jose, hello Brandon, I'm Jaime and I'm from Mexico. I just subscribed to your channel. Dude, that's cool. Thank you very much. Welcome aboard. I'm a software developer, but want to start recording stuff so I know nothing about it. I'm sure going to learn. Let's see. Yeah, I think it could be a great first camera, and I say that because it's fun, and that screen is going to make things easier for you. And it's so good in auto. Like the autofocus is fantastic. Let's see. Who would I start recommending you to watch? Who would I start recommending you to watch? My friend Tyler Edwards has got a great channel that will give you a mixture of beginning stuff, but also more advanced cinematography lessons. Josh Satin, my buddy Josh, is also a great pickup for that. I'll have to think about more of these. Like more advanced, I would start looking at Wandering DP. Lighting breakdowns. I can't remember his name. The British dude that everything's always super moody, but he's a great teacher. Let me think about it and come back to me in like a half an hour, and I'll see if I can remember those names. But I've learned everything I know off of YouTube. So I'm not good, but compared to what I was, it's night and day, man. So YouTube is a great place to learn. VLC, Brandon, would you be heading to your local Best Buy to test? Do they have the C50 at Best Buy? Something tells me no. The C50 looks awesome. It looks awesome. I always wanted to visit Suriname. Are you there? Let's see. I love when people talk about the look of a camera and don't mention the lenses or grades used. I mean, that's like 80% of it. I got a weird amount of people asking how I color grade and saying that they like the color. And I was like, listen, I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to color grading. I use film convert nitrate. That accounts for about 80% of it. I know about 10%, like what color is in the shot, and I don't want it to be, so I know how to like remove that color or to get more color. And then the other 10% is literally just experimentation. My color grading principle is, get the look that I want out of the lens. That's a huge start. Film convert nitrate, and then literally move sliders around until it looks good. From what it looks like, the ZR can be the perfect camera for run and gun. They need to get the file sizes down for R3D or add a log profile for the ProRes. Even without that, it looks to be one of a kind. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting out of left field camera that I think is definitely going to shake things up for run and gun people, for the work that I'm really interested in. I think it's going to slot in perfectly. We'll see. We'll see what comes from this. I didn't mention this, but you're right on the money. I think if you want this to be a run and gun camera, especially for beginners, compression levels of the R3D need to be given in a firmware update. Right now, it sits between the MQ and the HQ, which is 1520 megabits a second. That's a lot, 1.5 gigs per second. That goes fast. Most people aren't ready for that type of hard drive commitment. If they can get the ELQ, which I think is like an eighth of that, maybe a 12th of that. How does it work? It's almost like a 3-to-1, 8-to-1, 12-to-1, and a 15-to-1. So it might be the 15-to-1. ELQ is super small, and that's all you need for YouTube. ELQ, LQ, you really can't tell the difference. They look great on YouTube, but MQHQ, like where they've positioned it, that's like what you would use for like VFX work. And a beginner doesn't need that. Like YouTube doesn't need that. It's great if you have it, but you don't really need it. So a compression option, I think, is super necessary. Nikon, if you're watching, this should also go out in firmware 1.0. King Crook. No matter how small I try to keep my KX, I always fail. It's a production setup. I get it. It's pretty small every once in a while, but that monitor and the top handle is so good that it's hard for me to go without it. Maybe OpenGate with the firmware update. Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to be in the 1.0. Hot Pockets. Yes. I think Hot Pockets are like the ultimate first world humbling food. You're like first world, but you're eating a Hot Pocket. So how good are you doing really? I'm hyped to test out the ZR as a C cam to my Mavo LFs. Sweet. Don't see it as an A cam, definitely, but a great small profile for creating more rigging. Yeah, that's kind of what I talked to Condor Blue about. Like, it was a fun conversation because it got away from the camera cage and got to like, we've finally got this like tiny camera that has really great image quality. How can we create some rigging that lets you creatively rig this as fast and as frictionless as possible? Will it go anywhere? I have no idea, but I think I put some good ideas into their head. And yeah, I'm hoping that the ZR is like, you would rig it almost like a GoPro because it's so small, but you're getting way better image quality. What's up, Adam? Checking in from Southern California. Huge fan of the channel. Love your outlook and insight. Thanks, man. What part of SoCal are you in? I used to live in Huntington Beach, and I miss it. Not right now, but I loved Huntington. How much for a twerk? Asking for science. That's never going to happen. I don't think if maybe 100,000, but definitely not 10,000. If $10,000 came over a super chat, I still wouldn't twerk. I'm not a dancer. I never will be. It's just not going to happen. I have a Mavo Edge 8K2, and I'm really excited to test it out. Right on. Oh, that's... Oh, did I lose my place? This is crazy. I've never had to get through comments like this. This is wild. It's blowing my mind right now. Let's see. Nicholas. Don't know how I wasn't subscribed already. Fix that. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. What did I have on the talking points just to make sure we get through? No, come back. So, I mean, we're kind of answering this along as we go. I put size versus IQ. If you guys saw I'm going to interject from answering questions right now, and we'll kind of like go over a topic. The ZR, as if you saw some of those videos that I made, the last one being, it's made me rethink my whole kit. My whole kit, in terms of like what I travel with when I make my like travel photo adventure videos. So I have my Leica M11P on me. That's not going anywhere. It's not going to change that. That's the camera I take to shoot everything. And this last trip, I had these two cameras plus the S1R Mark II. Everything on the Blazer Remus to kind of keep the look consistent. I feel very fortunate that I get to go to some of these places. I know not everybody gets to travel as much as I do and see these beautiful places. And so I've always took it upon myself to make the visuals look as good as they possibly can from me. Other people could do a way better job. I'm just saying, for me, image quality is a high priority, because if you're not lucky enough to get there, I want you to see it as best as you can. Get the most realistic impression of that place. Like, I really want to show off the beauty. And in order to do that, you really got to go with a big old giant cinema camera to get like the ultimate image quality. But there's a downside to that. The downside being, like, its size gets in the way. It's hard to hike with. It's hard to set up. You're carrying way more weight, much bigger tripods. You've got these big old huge freaking V mounts. You know, like, everything's bigger with this camera and this camera. Even though this is a very tiny camera, it's like, it's bigger. Like, this is not I mean, it is a small camera, but then you have to put this piece on there, and then you have a 150 watt V mount, and the monitor's big, and it just becomes big. And I put the smallest lens I possibly could on there just to show you. But like, when I had the Arl on there, or one of these Blazar Remus, it's a big package. The ZR just unexpectedly has kind of shifted the paradigm of like image quality versus size. Now, I know there's some other cameras that get you pretty close. FX3, R5C, R5 II, this new C50. But there was nothing from a Red side, right? Like, I want to stick with Red. There was nothing from Red's offerings that could get you any smaller than this until now. And getting to look at the files compared to a KX, and just having shot with the KX virtually every day since it came out 2 years ago, sometimes it was hard to tell. It really was. It was hard to tell between the ZR and the KX. And so for me, it was like, man, could you imagine the footprint difference between a Monstro and a ZR? It is night and day. The Monster takes up an entire Pelican, and I can't even put it in a bag. I have to like carry it. Whereas the ZR, I could have 3 of those fully rigged in a single small bag, probably like a 25 liter. And so for me, getting close on image quality, but saving all of the headache from the tripods and the V mounts to that one tiny package, like, that's why I'm leaning into the ZR. Like, I'm leaning into it. I'm hoping it works out. I could be totally wrong. That's a possibility, but that's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm doing everything to save this and make sure that I don't have to sell it to pull this off, because it's still a lot of money, even though they're very cheap cameras. But to get 3 of them, you're looking at, $6,600 plus all of the accessory stuff that you need. I'll need extra batteries. I'll need lenses for the things, right? Like, it just kind of adds up. This camera has a lot of intrinsic value, and so I don't want to see it go anywhere. But also, I would never trust those cameras to do a really high production paid job or an interview. Like, there is a potential project on the horizon that is, I hate using the term game changer, but it's a game changer for me. It's a dream project. It just kind of fell into my lap. I definitely don't feel deserving of it, but if I get it, I'm going to be shooting it on these 2. I'm not going to shoot it on the ZR. I would use the ZR for certain aspects of it because of its nimbleness, but like, there's no way the ZR would replace this camera for what this camera can do. Anyway, that was just an interesting tangent that I wanted to go off on, because I put it up there as like size versus IQ. I think the ZR is going to change that paradigm. Size usually meant the bigger the camera, the better the IQ. I think it's going to change things. It's, in the words of Drill Peak, stop being trash cans. I love Drill, dude. We just harass each other. That's all that happens when we're around each other. But thank you. I mean, we got 85 likes, 126 people. I'm pumped. This is far and away like the craziest live I've ever had. It's wild. I was going to say Gray Hulk after your reply. That's awesome. Smart, man. Watching from Nepal? Holy smokes. That is so cool. I'm excited about the Nikon ZR. I think everybody in the chat's pretty excited. Whether you're getting one or not, I think we're all stoked because it makes these other companies go, oh, I wonder what we could do. I wonder how we can push the envelope when it comes to a tiny camera. And I think we're all stoked for that. Are we feeling bad for Canon? They had the worst timing on their camera drop. Canon kind of just does their own thing when they do it. Canon doesn't feel bad for Canon. I don't think. I think it's not that I think. I know after talking to higher ups at some of these camera companies, they absolutely know what is coming out when it's coming out. I talked to somebody today that knows what's coming out from Nikon. They know. They just know. And so I don't think they feel bad. And I think they also look at their camera as having a very specific market, and the ZR is not that market. So I don't think they were worried at all. Kind of random, but would you ever put an OLPF in the S1R Mark II? Pretty sure you could send it into Claria and have them do it. No. And I'll tell you why. Even though it would make the video look better than it is, I want that camera to be as sharp as humanly possible when I shoot photos. When I put like my 24-90 on it, it looks incredible, but it still has the sauce that sensor does. So for me, I wouldn't put the OLPF on there. Although it could help with skin tones in some way. Well, now that I think about it, I don't know. Osriel, FJ on the internet, that's killer. Oh, man. Well, thank you for the super chat. Here is a low amount to keep you. Dude, I'm for that anybody wants to send me money for opening my mouth on the internet. That's wild to me. It's crazy that any amount of money has come in. But I do like a good caffeinated drink, so I will use it to fuel up. Thanks, man. I've been looking for a great hybrid camera for both cinematography and photography. It could be it. There are others out there that are really good. The S1 II is such a great camera. The S1R2 is such a phenomenal camera. The S1R2 is a camera I really want to do an awesome video on because it is so good. The only thing that it gets wrong is the overheating. They took the American approach of supercars, which was dump as much engine as possible into that car. Don't worry about brakes. Don't worry about suspension. Just dump as much horsepower as they possibly could. And you get that. You get that with this camera, but unfortunately, it overheats. That is quite literally the only negative against it. It is best in class in so many different things, but it's a liability when it comes to overheating. If you don't shoot long takes, even like I'm in a very hot environment in the summer, I never had an issue with it, but I can't trust it to do anything long. And so I've got to look at other systems. That's kind of a bummer. If it didn't overheat, this camera would be, as the kids say, goated. Let's see, where am I at? Carlos, what's up, buddy? Just found your channel. Thanks for your hard work and info. Thank you so much for the kind words. I'm just doing my best, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I will unsub if you sell your Cam Maculites. Well, I'm not going to. I only have one Cam Maculite, and it's so damn useful. I use it all the time. So here, this is perfect example. I'm not going to fault you for it. Is the Nikon worth getting over the FX3 or FX30? What I would say to this particular question, please, I'm not trying to single you out. We talked about this earlier, but you're the first person that's actually asked the question. Is it worth getting over the FX30? It's impossible for me to answer that question. I would need way more information. I genuinely want to help you out. I don't know if, it's so weird how you become an authority on something simply because nobody else has had really the opportunity to try it. And that kind of sucks. I wish everybody could have tried it when I did, but that's what happens. I made a video on it. It got a lot of views, lots of views, and now I'm quote unquote the authority. Unfortunately, people are now start asking me for advice where they should put their money. And I would say, I just don't know what you do or how you would use your camera. Like, why would you want to buy an FX3 in the first place? Why the FX30? And what is it about the Nikon that you think could do a better job than the FX3 or the FX30? So if you can get me those, I can help you like talk your way through it. But like just in general, is it worth it? I have no idea. Let's see. I'd be happy to pay to test some of the sauce. It's so valuable when making a purchasing decision. I think this is in regards to the Discord, and I appreciate that. I'll never make a LUT because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to like color grading. I have no freaking clue. There is one other like I'm gonna probably make some in-depth guides on DSMC2 and DSMC3s from Reds because there is not a lot of info out there on like how to get the most out of your cameras. When I tell people they can do like focus pulls off the Komodo, like set focus points and operate it remotely, or they can use it as a trail cam, they're like, what? They have no idea. I'm gonna do the same thing with the ZR, I think. So if I can add value, I want to add value. Me personally, I don't think a LUT is adding any sort of value, but giving you all of the raw footage to help you with a purchase decision, or after you've made a purchase decision, how to become a technical master at your camera, if it's one of the cameras that I have, great. Let's see. The codecs need to support OpenGate as well. I don't think that will be an issue. I don't think it works the same way. I think the processors on the Nikon may not be able to handle OpenGate. Also, maybe overheating issue. Yeah, we'll see. From what I have heard from the Red team, the processors are more than capable. Like Nikon has extremely good processors, and it's one of the things that Red was really looking forward to and joining. I also learned that Red had very, very little on design input, but they are now on the design side going forward. I got to test out some raw footage from Colin Kelly, and it really makes you appreciate how people capture that image. So the Discord with raw footage is a great benefit. Good to hear. That's I love the feedback. Awesome video about the Nikon. You have my follow. Thank you. Would love to see a red raw version of the Nikon that has lower bitrate. Yep, absolutely. The ZR feels like what I would imagine an evolution of the OG pocket cinema camera would be, which makes you wonder what's coming next. Yep. I think the ZR, you're like, that's awesome. And then at the same time, you're like, what would the big ZR be? Like, what's the no punches pulled ZR? Veselin. I think I've just butchered that name. Veselin? That sounds Russian. Maybe Ukrainian. Keep it going. Thank you so much. Stoked to have you here. The Iron Merchant. That's a tight name. Does the ZR have any stabilization or IBIS? It does. Yep. And it has really good IBIS. Everything Nikon is like way more involved. There's so much granular control to their cameras that it becomes overwhelming and it's difficult. But if you spend the time and you can but they give you the ability to dial things in. That's what I mean. Like there's a ton of control. It takes a lot longer. It's not very intuitive. That's why I want them to have like a red menu for video. But once you dial it in, the IBIS is really good on that camera. It's not Panasonic, but it's really good. And it doesn't have the warpies that Canon gets sometimes on the wide angles. Yeah, it is. I've tried finagling around with the ISO. I could change it. Here, I'll change it real quick. let me know if this is any better. What sucks about Lumix cameras, their screens are kind of, I don't know about their screens. Like it's telling me that it's blown out to hell, but it looks like that. It's very confusing. That looks better, I think, but you let me know, Mac. What's up, everybody? Shutter Shocked 55. Marcus, you didn't have to do that, man. Keep these up, bro. Listen, I love doing the lives, but this is not going to be a consistent thing for me. Actually, let's dive into that. So, I put a lot of work into the ZR videos. I know they don't look it, but I put a lot of work into the ZR videos while also just trying to come back from like a huge trip. It got really stressful there, and I had to end the trip early to make them. But I think I did like 4 videos in like 5 days, which is a lot for me, especially being a dad, you know. Having a kid and like trying to fulfill all those responsibilities plus YouTube. There's a lot of work. And the next video I'm doing is on the Leica M11, shooting with a 50 and then the 21. But I don't know if I'm just going to do it on the M11 or just the photos. Anyway, I'm going into the weeds. The thing is, I'm not burnt out, but I want to do a really good job on that video because that camera and the photos that I took mean a lot to me personally. And so I want to do it justice. And if I tried to hit my normal Tuesday, Friday release schedule, it just wouldn't be there. And frankly, I just needed like a day or 2 off, but I still wanted to connect. And so that's why we're doing this live. I'm stoked that we're doing it, but it's like, it's just not going to be an every week thing. And if you're going to do lives and you want them to actually perform well, you kind of have to do them every week, or they can kind of hurt your channel when you're a smaller channel like me. And that's what they did. Like when I was doing them consistently, they actually really started to hurt the channel. So I stopped doing it. I'm stoked to do this one. Would I do them more? Yeah, like randomly in the future, but it's just a fun way for me to connect. But also, like, I don't have to do any post-processing to this. Like, it was really easy to set up. Took me like an hour. So it's a really low initial investment. But I hope you enjoy the next video. I'm still trying to figure out what my heart wants it to be, whether it's just focused on the story and the photos and do a lot of voiceover and lots of sound development, or am I doing an actual review of the M11P? I don't know. So I'll figure that out, but I hope you enjoy the video when it drops. Did you see CVP's latitude test of the ZR versus the other current stuff out there? Seems like it falls behind all the other options in Gerald Undead. Yeah, my thoughts are I've used it personally and in situations that I would use a camera, and it looked fantastic. I'm not a fan of the, how do I word this? Gerald is doing nothing wrong in his tests, but like when Cine D does them, it's using a signal to noise ratio to get your stops of dynamic range. However, it doesn't really work with RAW because RAW doesn't have any post processing, like it's not being denoised. For me, the KX can almost compete with the Monstro. The KX has a wicked amount of dynamic range, and you can go on to see Cine D and they're like, it's not that great, but you use it like firsthand, you're like, holy shit, there's gobsmacks of dynamic range here. And you can adjust that dynamic range depending on where you put your ISO, so you can kind of like change and manipulate things, and those things aren't taken into account on that test. The ZR can compete with the KX in certain situations. Other situations, the KX blows it out of the water. But as a person that's used it firsthand, like I think it has better dynamic range than the S1R Mark II. Oddly enough, I think the S5 II has better dynamic range than the S1R Mark II. So I don't, like, it's great that they do that, but I don't care. I'm like, cool. It doesn't steer me one way or another, if that makes sense. If Gerald Undone does a video, and he does phenomenal videos, by the way. This is not a knock on Gerald. I love that guy. But if I watch a Gerald video and it gets to that part where he's telling me dynamic range, I'm kind of like, cool, but it's at the same time like, I'm not going to pass judgment until I have it in my hand and I'm seeing the actual footage on my screen. Then I'll know whether or not it's good, if that makes sense. How long will a 1 terabyte card last on this thing at 6K 60? At 6K 60, you're looking at 3.4 gigabits per second. I think something like 40 minutes. For video, I would not recommend the R5 II. It overheats anything without active cooling from it. Yeah, it's kind of weird that camera still overheats like a mofo. Do you think Sony has some exclusivity deal with Sigma to keep some of its glass off Z-mount? No, I think it's that Nikon and Sigma haven't come to an arrangement yet, because Sigma can make glass for the L mount, and they make their own. What's Sigma's mount? The SA mount, I think. I wish there was a way to record straight to SSD. I'm surprised Nikon didn't do this. Again, it's kind of like a beginner camera. I think Nikon kind of shot themselves in the foot when they put Z Cinema and red on the camera. I don't mind that they put red. I know other people are mad, but when you put cinema, you're kind of setting certain expectations. And at the moment, there aren't very many cameras that do that. I'm pretty sure the camera allows for data pass-through, so it's a possibility. But I'm not surprised that they didn't. Let's see. Andrew, I am live. It's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle. My S9 got sent back to Toys R Us. Whoops. I mean Lumix. It was built like a Fisher-Price camera. It is one camera I have yet to try, but I'm really interested in their second version of that camera because I think they're onto something. But I do have, like, one thing I love about the Z6 III is how good the camera feels. Like, the S1R2 and the S5 II feel pretty good, but the Z6 III feels like the build quality feels completely different than those cameras. The ZR feels like a freaking tank. It's small, but it's dense. Like, I sat there and waited. I was like, holy shit, like, this thing's legit just from the heft. So I like a well-built camera. I can't do Fisher-Price toy feeling cameras. Hey, oh, poop. Do I have to redo all of that? That sucks. Just a second. Oh, good God. Let's see. And now it's crazy dark. Okay. Okay. I'm going to say that was pretty legit if I can do it that fast. Oh, and we switched to open gate so you can see the mic now. Oh, well. NBD. Okay. Well, we did that. All right, Brandon, let's get back to it. Have a red Komodo OG and a Lumix S5 II. Very hard. Considering getting the ZR, I work as a creative director at an energy drink company. Which one? So I think it would replace my S5 as being more of a social media. I could see that in that particular case. Thanks for all the info. I could see it sliding into that role. Hi from Finland. I love Finland. Your initial reaction to the ZR price and what is it that made me go, take my money? I was flabbergasted that it was so cheap. Yeah, flabbergasted. What about the file size when shooting with R3D NE? Is it manageable? It's huge right now. In that video, I was like, it's much smaller. I had no idea they were running an MQHQ compression. I just assumed because it was 12-bit, they were going to be giving us like an LQ or an ELQ compression. It's a lot of data. Now, I'm already set up for that because I've been shooting even bigger, like 8K 60 on this thing, which is a lot more than 6K 60. So I was prepared for it, but it did kind of shock me, and I really think they need to create some lower compression options. Hey, Brandon, wondering what your take on the Canon C50. I know you were into red for a long time. I've been tempted to get a KX. I think the C50 is awesome. It's just I don't really have any interest in it because I'm not a Canon shooter. But if you're a Canon shooter and you've got a C80 or a C400 and you need a B or C camera, like, yes, it's a great camera. I mean, the one like there are some things that I would say about Canon, like, hey, you were a little late to the party, and your goal was to beat a 4-year-old camera. That being said, they did beat it, and better late than never. But Canon cameras just work. Ergonomically, they're phenomenal. They have the better screens out of any manufacturer other than this new Nikon ZR. The camera is going to be awesome. It's like never going to die on you. It's always going to show up. It's super reliable. Ergonomics are phenomenal. So I think it's a fantastic camera from Canon. And with the XLR, it's a full-size XLR, which is rad. It does open gate. The C80 can't do open gate. And I think that's because the SD cards can't handle it. But there are a few other things that it does that the C80 can't do. I think it's an awesome camera. If you were to pick one up, I bet you would be super stoked. Let's see. I have the FX3, the red Komodo, and kind of conflicted between an R5C and a Nikon ZR. They're really different. They're really different for a C camera and a photo camera. In that regard, I would say the R5C because personally, that's a far better photo camera than the ZR is. Just my take. Again, it's got an EVF, which I'd want. It's got a mechanical shutter, which I'd want. I can't, dude. Norway, this is crazy. We got like the whole world tuning in for this one. This is awesome. That being said, I'm not going to even attempt your your first name because that's a tough one. But Filmcraft, I got. And thank you for joining, Josh Jones. Dude, thank you so much for the super chat. That's super nice of you. I've said super way too much today. I have to tone that down. Team Captain America or Team Iron Man? Oh, we're getting nerdy, huh? I'm going to say Captain America. I think Iron Man's cool, but neither of those are like my favorite Marvel characters. If you can read that, you're not going to be able to. That's my favorite. Up on that poster there. Those are my two favorites. Right back there. Hulk issue 181. Am I just getting on here? Good to see the live. Have you had a chance to try any Nikon glass with the ZR? We used the 24 to 70, their brand new one. They had the 24 to 70, so this was like a month before that lens got announced. It's such a good lens. Nikon makes great glass. My only issue with Nikon glass is the issue that I had with Canon glass. It's phenomenal, but the footprint is huge. Now that 24 to 70 is really light for what it is, and it's an internal zoom, which is the first of its kind. It looks amazing. The Andy Axe channel, they did a episode with this lady that's a wildlife photographer, and I think they were using the 28 to 135, and just stunning looking images. The lenses are just really big, which is like the opposite direction I want to go. I know they have the 40 f2 and the 28 2.8, which are their pancake lenses, but I really think I'm going to just stick with my M glass on it because that can adapt to anything. And then I think I'm going to get some Sony Sigmas, these little contemporary lenses. They're tiny, they're built like tanks, and they're actually the Sigma art glass, but just in a contemporary body. So you're getting incredible optics out of these. And I don't think any of them are more than $600, brand new. So that's probably what I'll do with a Megadap adapter. Do you think the ZR would be Netflix approved? I don't know. I don't know what it takes to be Netflix approved because I mean GoPros are on there and all sorts of different cameras. You can kind of use any camera for Netflix, I've heard, but if you want the camera to be, or if you want the project to be bought by Nikon, or not Nikon, Netflix, it has to be shot on a Netflix approved camera. And I don't know anybody that would want to shoot an entire feature on a Nikon ZR. Storage will be costly. Bitrate on the high HQ or 230. Yeah, so it's just a smidge underneath that. Storage will be costly. People need to know that, but that's also why Nikon needs to create some bitrate options because they haven't said it. They haven't like come out and said this is going to kick you in the teeth when it comes to storage. But thankfully, that's not being done on an SD card. That would cost you so much money. Thankfully, on a CF Express Type B, you can get them for a little cheaper. I will die on this hill, I think. Blackmagic 4K is the best way to get into and learn cinematography, full stop. I mean, it's a fantastic camera for that. I think we could make arguments against it, but what's the point? Greetings from Germany. Guten Tag. I think Nikon did a really smart move with the ZR. I think so too. Did they kind of just dip the toe in? Could they have leaned into the red side a little bit more? Yes, but those are two different things, and Nikon is the priority since they own red. So they're going to make more Nikonish stuff than they are red stuff. That's just the deal. Are the R3D file sizes bigger than on the other DSM-C3 cameras? It depends on the compression. So if you shoot an HQ on a DSM-C3 camera, no. If you shoot on a Red Raptor, no, 8K is way bigger than 6K. But if you're shooting on LQ or ELQ, yeah, they're way bigger. Pre-ordered this. We'll try to match this to my Canon C70. And I bet you could. One thing, I did a video using a KX, a Komodo, and a C70, and it was very easy to match them. Red and Canon match really well from the Canons that I've shot with. The NAV conversion to red R3D has me interested in what makes red raw amazing, just how to use R3D. Yeah, if you can do the conversion and then use R3D to kind of get like familiar with the workflow, great. I feel like it could be a great cam to quickly grab some quality travel footage for documentaries with really tight schedule. It looks promising. I think that is the perfect use case for it, and that's what I will be doing. It looks like the new 12-bit R3D full speed. Yep. Let's see. I mean, the ZR. If we're talking everyday fun camera, ZR by a landslide. That, I can't tell you how much fun that camera is because of the screen. The screen makes that camera so much fun to use. Tom says, I wonder if the ZR has an OPF. Yes, it does. Straight from Jeff at Nikon. I didn't think it did because they literally didn't tell anybody. They didn't tell any of us creators. And I asked, and he said yes. And I was like, why what the hell? Like, why didn't you tell anybody? Everybody wants to know if it does. Guys, we have 105 viewers, which again is oh my God, have we been going for an hour and 40? Holy shit. 111 with 102 likes. You guys are the best. This is nuts. Given that sensor is quite fast, I'm going to buy it as my EDC stills camera, even if it's only electronic shutter, and good for some video shots on the side. Awesome. I hope you love it. The ZR will become my everyday video and photo camera. Probably the same for me. I don't know. I don't know if it'll dethrone my Q2. While my Fuji GFX 102 will... shit, Brandon, come on. Read faster. Be what I use if I need something more rigged. I'm an idiot. Or pro photos. That makes sense. Tom, thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day. ELQ or even just close to ELQ finds size. Yes. Same. Every YouTube video you see from me is done in ELQ unless it's an accident, or if I'm shooting super high frame rate of animals. If I'm shooting high frame rate or 4K, like if I crop in, I'll go to MQ or HQ because I don't want those compression artifacts to be present. I could see Nikon adding a dock, which is why they went with the mini HDMI other than design choices. Adding a dock? What kind of dock? They went mini HDMI because they don't think anybody's going to be plugging anything into the HDMI. And so they wanted to keep the camera as small as possible and as cheap as possible. Apparently, bigger HDMIs cost quite a bit more. Forget the ZR. Canon releases the first new Digicam in 10 years. It shoots 10. Did they really, Matthew? Oh, I bet you're so pumped. I bet you are through the moon. If you guys like awesome, nerdy, retro stuff, whether it's Apple or cameras, this person, Matthew O'Brien, is the best. And honestly, one of my favorite human beings on the entire planet. San Diego. That's where my sister-in-law is. Hi from Shanghai. Holy smokes. We really are like the whole world. This is wild. This is wild. Checking my bank account balance. BMX Drag, new sub in Lurker for a while. Sub Bangkok? Dude, this is... It's like you guys are trying to top each other. Somebody's going to be like, I'm from Mordor. I'm from... what's the realm outside of Midgard? Dude, welcome aboard. I'm stoked to have you. Chase, what's up, dude? It's been a long time, man. I hope you're doing well. Me, and that's not really his name. I can't even remember your real name. I just call you Chase. But we finally got to meet each other at Cinegear. No, it wasn't Cinegear. It was CES. I hope you're doing well, buddy. ZR looks neat, but the tiny body has my overheating concerns high. I totally understand. And I don't want to be like, no, dude, it doesn't overheat. But it was we didn't get an overheat warning, and we purposefully tried to overheat it and cake it in sand to ruin it, despite Jeff was like, shit, please don't break it. And then we were like, okay, we'll definitely try to break it. And we shot for 5 hours in 98 plus and never got an overheat warning. Yeah, it smokes my S1R Mark II on that. Obviously we know the S1R Mark II overheats, but there's something in that camera that just makes it incredibly well suited for dry heat. Now, humid heat, I don't know. I don't know about that. But dry heat, it seems to just be okay. And I guess it depends on what you're shooting too. Like if they can bring down the compression bitrate, maybe that will help. I don't know. But those are super valid concerns, dude. And if you need something that absolutely will not overheat, yeah, you're probably better off with something that does have a big old fan. But I'm stoked you're here, man. I hope you're well. Holy crap, from India. Saving up for my first camera for YouTube and personal hobby. Do you think the ZR is good for it? Or what will be your suggestion under $2,500? Here's my suggestion. You are going to need a lot more than just a camera when it comes to YouTube. You're going to need, sorry, I got something in my eye. You're going to need a lens, right? If you get a camera like what we have on display here, you're going to need a lens for that. And I would put serious consideration into lenses. You can get some for cheap, but you're better off getting a really good lens because it will carry you for many, many years. You're also going to need lights. Lights are going to make what you shoot look way better than any camera will. I can light this thing and use my iPhone and make it look pretty good. I can put the Monstro on here, which shoots Hollywood movies, and just use my house lights and it'll look like dog shit. So there are other things that you need to account. Maybe you have, and maybe I'm just assuming you haven't, but maybe you have, and that's like what your budget is. If you've got all of that other stuff accounted for, yes, I think the ZR could be an awesome YouTube camera because it's fast, it's easy, excellent autofocus is small, it's not going to get in the way, it's instantaneous. When you feel like shooting, you can just shoot. It's not a cinema camera, you don't have to wait for anything to load. It could be awesome in that regard, but make sure you have those other bases covered. Okay? But I'm stoked for you. Good luck on the YouTube journey. It's hard, but it's super fun. Do you think the ZR will look better than the KX in some shots? Because no. I don't think it will ever look better than the KX because it's full frame. It will look better than the KX if it's full frame if you have really good glass. Or the lighting. Well, not even lighting, because if you're controlling the light, then it's still going to look better on the KX. The camera can compete with the KX sometimes. The KX will win in the other times. I don't think there's ever going to be a point where the ZR looks better than the KX. Despite it only having a Super 35 sensor, the KX looks better than every full frame camera I have other than this. That's just how it is. Dude, what's up, Kofi? Stoked to have you here, man. If you want to join this carnival-like atmosphere, I would love to have you on because you're just a very knowledgeable guy and you've shot with it. So it's always fun to talk to somebody that's shot with the camera. We're getting lots of great questions. Did we go through all of the talking points? Yes, we have. So if you want to, Kof, let me know and I'll send you that little linky thing. Oh, dun, 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 dun. Those companies definitely spy on each other hard. The funny thing, yes, but they're not really spying. Like, the amount of communication that happens between these companies is way more so than you might think. How do I say this without sounding like a total tool? I'm very fortunate to be friends with the former owner of one of these big companies. And it's always fun to listen to the BTS. because it's way more friendly than it is competitive. It's crazy how much they're cheering each other on and how much they share with each other. It's pretty rad. I want to know if they're using two ADCs per channel for the 32-bit float, how many channels it can handle, more about the preamps, also if the CF Express B is 2.0 or 4.0. Damon, you're asking the technical questions that are really good questions, but above my pay grade. I can ask Jeff, and I will, because those are really good questions. But I don't know. So let me screenshot this, and I'll send it over to Jeff, because he will know. All right, thank you for the questions. Is it worth getting the Nikon ZR over there for boxing events and short documentary? I'd say in that particular case, no. I think the FX3, because it doesn't... That's tough. Oh, that's tough. I would say, I would ask again, like, that's much better information. Thank you. How long does a typical boxing event go for? Not like a fight, like the entire event. Or is everybody else using Sony in the post-production side of things? Because if you introduce R3D into that, like, you could be the odd man out and they might hate you for it. What is your market currently shooting? Because a lot of markets aren't asking for R3D. They're asking for Sony and like S-Log 3. Sony's just very prevalent in that arena. No pun intended. I would say if the jobs are requiring Sony, or if there's a lot more Sony, from a money-making standpoint, it's probably a better idea to go with like an FX3. It's nice that you can shoot 4K 120 in R3D on the ZR, but it does crop in. So if you don't want that crop, the FX3 is the way to go. But thanks for the additional info. If you got some more, send it my way. No idea if you mentioned this. What's up? But didn't some video show that the ZR overheated with the screen closed? I have not seen that. Might be a moot point, but I suspect that no one really is shooting other than fully open. Yeah, I have not seen that yet. According to Nikon, the only person that was able to overheat it was Matt Johnson. And remember, we're on a pre-production camera with pre-production firmware. But that was Matt Johnson out in Texas on a super hot day, and they just overheat, ran it on purpose. So 90 minutes at 6K 60. Oh, dude, thank you so much. You don't have to send that, but I appreciate it. Thank you. But yes, let me know on the additional information. Putting R3D in a 2200 ZR is a really clever move. It is. Absolutely. Nikon was very savvy in doing this. I saw already the ZR red files. It's gorgeous. Yep. Or Georges. King, have you tried the new Nanlux Evoke? Nope. I kind of have like my lights right now, and there hasn't been a light that's popped up that I'm like, ooh, I would like that. Other than Godox has their 8x8 version of the big panel matte light. I would love one of those. I would love to just install an 8x8 on my ceiling and leave it there permanently and just have the most epic top-down lighting of all time. But I also don't have $7,699. Avi, hey man, just subscribed to your channel. Thank you. Can you explain how come the ZR and the Z6 III has the same sensor, but the ZR has more dynamic range and better in low light situations? Can I explain it? No, not really. I don't know how, but I would say it's just the Z6 III came out a while ago, and the ZR is now, and the engineers were able to retool some things. It's kind of like how the Lumix S1 II also has way better dynamic range and open gate at 6K 60 frames per second. I think the engineers and the smart people, the big brains over at Nikon, went and tweaked some things, and they got a little more juice out of it. Hey, what's up, Jacob? Good to see you, buddy. Dumb question. No dumb questions, unless it's like a really goddamn dumb question. We'll see. We'll be the judge of that. Do have happened to know the flash sync seat? That's not a dumb question by any means, and I don't because I did not shoot any photos with it. No clue. Electronic shutter only. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. Let me screenshot this one and I'll send it to Jeff because that's also a really good question. I have a Z6 III mainly for photos to dip my toe into video and to dip my toe into video. Gotcha. Any tips or recommend settings for a good video out of the camera? You know, obviously the easy ones are making sure that you shoot in log so you can just get the most dynamic range. But the tips I would have are where I see a lot of people make an error, because this is an error that I did a lot. I moved on to new cameras way too quickly. And I was like in pursuit of better and better and better technical performance, dynamic range, image quality. And one of the reasons why is because I got my Komodo way before I was ever good enough to own a Komodo. But I got it because I never wanted the camera to be the thing I could blame. But in my pursuit of that, where I kind of did myself a disservice is I never got technical mastery with my cameras. And I think that is way underrated. I think becoming very technically proficient with your camera makes you intimately aware at where your camera excels and where it doesn't excel. So when you're talking about like how to get the most out of your camera, learn the camera. And then beyond that is follow people that make videos like their footage looks like what you would want to make. Wandering DP, my buddy Tyler Edwards, Julian Jerry, like watch some of these people and see how they're lighting a scene, because that really is like how you make something look good is the light. But that's where I would start. Hopefully that helps. And then follow people that are making tutorials on the Z6 III. That way you can become intimately aware with everything that camera does. Have you decided on what you're going to do with the Monstro? Right now, I'm trying to do everything I can to keep it. This camera is freaking amazing, and it does some things that just no other camera does, honestly. So I'd love to keep it, but it all comes down to money. So we'll see if things pick up and they kind of look like they're trending that way from the ZR videos. Then I'll keep it, and I would be super stoked to keep it. But as much as I love this camera, and it is kind of like a weird notch in my belt that I have one, at the end of the day, if I need to sell it, I'll sell it. But I don't want to. If you want great video right out of the camera, this is in reference to the Z6 III. Put it in the standard profile, but turn down sharpening, contrast, mid. Yeah, it gives it a more filmic look, for sure. My live streams definitely had a negative impact on my channel. It sucks, man. Almost need a separate channel for live streams, but could be the move. As Brandon Washington explained it, it does. It hurts the channel unless you can do one the same time every single week for more than a year. Thanks. I'll try that. That makes sense for photos. Use the flat profile and everything at O, and then editing later. But that looked, yeah, I don't know if I would use the flat profile for photos. Can you please elaborate on how's it photography capability? Like no one is talking. Well, there's a reason. I don't think anybody is interested in this camera for photos. It is the first collaboration between Nikon and Red, which has everybody like everybody was anticipating what this could be. And because it says Z Cinema on there, you're not going to find a lot of people that are like looking at this as their main photo camera. And the way Nikon does things is you have a very short amount of time and you have somebody with you, like a liaison, somebody that watches over you. We only had 5 hours with it. So it's 5 hours is so incredibly short to figure out like what the camera does well and what it doesn't do well. And then you're like, okay, now how do I turn this into a video? And you got to think like, what are all of the things that I have to cover? Like, am I going to uncover any bugs? You can't purposefully go looking for them because you don't know what they are. But photos was so far down on the totem pole of importance when it came to the ZR that, yeah, right now you're not going to see anybody talking about photos. You're just not. Like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. It's just like that is an expectation I would not have. Will you see it when the camera comes available to the public? Yeah, for sure. But like, I don't think I'll ever do a video on photos, even though it does photos. I'm going to ignore it because I have zero interest in it. It will happen, but that's why you didn't see it with all the release videos. Hey, buddy, want to clarify? I'm excited about the ZR and pre-ordered. Sweet. Was talking about sample raw footage on the ZR's homepage lit in a flat way. Looking forward to your Discord, Ross. Yeah, I guess I have not even looked. I didn't know they offered raw footage to go look at. I'll have to go check it out, but thanks for putting it on my radar. The Nikon Z6 III noise doesn't bother me that much because I use the denoise in DaVinci. Great. I have shot a video on the Nikon Z8 with those settings called Miami Swim Week Open Casting Vlog. Oh, okay. So you can go check out that video and see his profile settings and see what it looks like. I would love to hear what you would like to see from a ZR-X or the next step up from the ZR. What would I like? What I really want from Nikon, and I can't anticipate them doing, is I want them to lean into red a little bit more, and not so much from a performance standpoint. Would it be cool to have a KX sensor and a ZR? Hell yeah. I mean, it'd be rad to see a Raptor sensor in a ZR. Could you imagine? The the half-life of that camera would be like a minute. It would just explode. Of course, I would love to see the Z8 sensor go in it because we would get a pretty good bump in dynamic range. But I just want to see better tools. You know, if they go with the Z8 sensor, they're probably going to have to increase the size of the camera. So you kind of lose me if you go too much bigger, because then it's like, why don't I just use a normal Z8, or why don't I just use my KX? The allure of the ZR is its size to image quality ratio. It's very small, but it does a image quality that we haven't seen in a camera that small before. So for me, it's more of the tools. I want to see way more red tools in the next camera. I want to see red control. I want to see that in this camera. But if they're saying we never get that in this camera, then red control app, edge focus peaking, stoplights, geoscope, the red tools that make red great, that's what I want to see in there with like a Z8 sensor. That's what I would want. In a body, if it's going to be bigger, negligibly bigger. And of course, full-size HDMI, because that's really the only knock to that camera that I can see right now. So when it comes to like physical changes, that's what I would want. I just pre-ordered, moving up from a Black Magic PCCOG. That's awesome. I still get raw codec, but I get a way better screen audio. Yeah, I mean, there's some huge improvements. No pun intended. How usable is it for stills as a travel cam? I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. You know, it's an electronic shutter, so you've just got to like work within those constraints. But the Z6 III is an awesome camera when it comes to photography. Audio out? Oh, dude, did this thing die too? JC. Okay. Uno momento. Have I been going no audio this whole time? Is this not on? So sorry. Are we on? Oh, dude. Hey, everybody. Are we... Oh, dude, I feel horrible. Your audio is working. I can't believe audio was gone for that long. That's the problem when you have 100 people on a live stream. Dude, did anybody text me? I can't believe nobody texted me to be like, dude. Brandon Washington texted me, but not about that. Everybody, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Because I can see it. Like, I never saw it drop off of the eCam. Oh, man. I am so sorry. That sucks. And now I have no idea where I am in the chat. So I'm just going to go all the way to the bottom. I am so sorry. No, it's working. No. And you were just catching up. Oh, that really sucks. I can't believe you guys stuck with this. And we've been going for 2 hours. Holy balls. Hopefully you just had a good conversation between yourselves. I think we might have been watching an earlier part of the stream. Someone watching behind. I mean, I'm watching what I'm watching. I feel horrible though. Okay, so it says no, your audio is good the whole time. Really? Because I just had to turn it on. Is it really? It's good. Can you guys get... I'm so lost right now. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if it's good? I'm just going to wait until I... Thumbs up emoji if it was good. If we're good on audio now. Can't do anything about the past, but if it's presently on, hit me with a thumbs up. Mac is texting me. Okay, it says, is good. You were good. The audio. This is why I use cinema cameras, because I can just plug in AC power and never have to worry about that. Okay, well, it looks like, okay, we're good. I'm getting thumbs up. Whew, that was rough, people. Okay, well, thank you for sticking with me. It's interesting how one little like error like that can kind of just derail your entire brain. But also I've been going for 2 hours, so my brain is a little derailed anyway. I'm not that railed to begin with. Okay, I'm going to try to find some semblance of where I was. I've never seen this many comments come in, so like I don't feel like I'll ever catch up. Oh, okay, here we go. Some people, I'm just going to go through. Some people are saying that DaVinci can't edit R3D RAW, but Big Cook showed that you could. Am I missing something? No, you definitely can, and you have been able to forever. The problem is this new R3D, which is R3D NE. I mean, I could be totally out of context here, but currently, as it's, well, that's not true. When the camera came out, when we did the press announcement and you saw all the videos come out on the ZR, it didn't work in any NLE except for a weird beta version that Nikon had to give you access to of Red Cine X. As it stands right now, it now does work in DaVinci, like natively, but it doesn't work in Premiere and it doesn't work in Final Cut Pro. That absolutely has to change. Nikon, you got to make it available for Final Cut Pro. It's always worked for Final Cut Pro. I definitely need that. Okay. The new R3D NE wasn't supported at the time of everyone's reviews. Yep, correct. Okay. Oh, he got his answer. I could have just went through the comments like a moron. I sat here and babbled on, but you guys already gave him the answer. So thank you, chat. I really want the Axe, but I already have the Z6 III. Should I upgrade to this cam? My wallet hates me. I want the Axe. Oh, the Z, the ZX. You mean the ZR? No Axe involved. That's a tough one, dude. It depends on how much photo you're doing, because I wouldn't upgrade for the photo, but I would upgrade for the video and the giant ass screen. Like if you're doing photo and you use the EVF, obviously not. That's probably not a great like upgrade. But if you're going for video, like majority video, then the ZR is an upgrade over the Z6 III, in my humble opinion. Holy shit. Wow, these comments are coming in so fast that I can't even keep up. Oh, hey, what's up, Mondo? The Nikon ZR is the pocket cinema camera we've all wanted. If they could only add open gate, it would never leave my bag. Dude, it's obviously I watched your videos, and I think we were all kind of like, that was a very unexpected camera. I would have, even when they acquired Red, I didn't think Nikon was going to lead with something that's so small, but yet offered so much value and so much performance. And it kind of makes you think, like, why weren't people offering bigger screens all along? Like, if you look at any screen, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, and I don't know why we're doing it still. Yes, they give you a 3-inch screen, but if you really look at it, turn it on. Look at the bezels on that screen. They're huge. Like, Sony screens already sucked, but you look at the bezel and it's that thick. Like, your viewing area is like that big. It doesn't make any sense. There's still a bezel on the ZR, which sucks. I wish they could get rid of it. I don't know why bezels exist on these things. But just that little bit, that extra inch of diagonal viewing makes a huge difference on how well and how much fun, how well you can see and how much fun that camera is. It kind of blows my mind that Nikon was like, yeah, our first camera that we're going to lead with in this new partnership is this little tiny killer. It's freaking rad, and it makes me really excited for the future. Mondo, stoked to see you here, man. I hope you're well, buddy. Viewing from Trinidad and Tobago. I've been there, and it's beautiful. Now I'm catching up to... Holy crap, dude. These comments are coming in. So I can literally see them being pushed up. I can't even keep up with it. Anamorphic AF lenses on the ZR. I think Cam's super excited for that. I don't have any of the autofocus anamorphics from Blazar, but I love my Remus's. Atlas did hit me up last night, though. Thanks for the kind words, buddy. You're one of my favorite people. I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, I really want you to meet Cam because she's going to get along splendidly with Cam. But I was like, the other person that I would love for you to meet is my buddy Matthew. I'm from the Shire. Lord of the Rings is my favorite set of movies. I'm currently going through the book right now. That just makes me so happy. You've just gone up the rung on people I love so fast from that quote. People are showing up from Vol. I'm from Jupiter, Earth 616. Good Marvel reference. Planet Orc. I knew Mork and he fell from it. That's clever. OKC, not nearly as cool as Planet Orc, Valhalla, or the Shire. I'm sorry, Logan. Let's see. I'm shooting my furniture design collaboration with amazing craftsmen in a noisy sawdust-filled workshop. The fanless ZR with the top of the hill sound recording seems like, yeah, because I mean it's sealed, so you're not going to get any of that dust. That would be kind of a nightmare. You'd probably have to bag something like a KX, and the sound being 32-bit float is huge. Like, that's another thing I would have not expected to go in that camera is internal 32-bit float from a 3.5 mic. It's freaking rad. Like, they're really doing some cool things with it. I think the fact that the ZR doesn't do as many things functionality-wise that the other cinema cameras do is what saves it from overheating and why it has no fan. But only time and real testing will tell. Correct. It is kind of like a head scratcher when you get to use it and it doesn't overheat. Like, the camera itself doesn't even get hot. Like, it wasn't even warm. Is really a bit of a head scratcher. Hi, I'm thinking of buying the Nikon ZR paired with a DZO Vespa 2 in manual focus instead of buying a Nikon Z lens in autofocus. Do you prefer shooting? It depends on the situation, but 9 times out of 10, I'm shooting with manual lenses because I like the control. As good as autofocus is on any system, it will still do some harebrained things and you're not in control. So if I'm behind the camera and there are multiple subjects happening, like when people ask me to do BTS for them, I'm using a manual lens. I'm almost never using autofocus because I want to be in control of what I need the viewer to see. I just don't trust autofocus implicitly yet. Enjoyed the video in Yosemite. Good convo. Edmund, good to see you again, man. I hope you're doing well, and thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was fun to shoot. It got really hot though. I heard no external USB recording, maybe with an update. If you go into Nikon's thing, you can actually go through like the specs to see what all of the I/O does, and it is capable of doing data, so it could maybe in an update, unless I'm misunderstanding what they mean by that. Hope the anamorphic update don't turn off autofocus when applying D-squeeze. Huh. I've never really thought of that, but that's a good point. That would suck if it did. R3D versus B-RAW. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to take R3D. There are pros and cons, but from a codec standpoint, I'm partial to R3D. Coming from APS-C back to full frame and Nikon, if you had to choose one all-around lens for vlogs, talking heads, small commercial bar and lounge, what would you rock with? I'm not super familiar with Nikon lenses right now, but you can't go wrong with the 24-70. That new 24-70 would probably be my choice because it will do everything. BT Roger, dude, how are you doing, man? It has been too long since we've seen each other, and you've been doing some crazy shit lately. How did the Adobe thing go? I think that happened. I'm not a very good friend. I'm sorry. I should be more up to date on your comings and goings. I really hope we get firmware update to the Z6 to increase the dynamic range as the Z. You probably won't see that because from what I've heard, while the sensor is architecturally the same in the ZR, there has modifications. It has some modifications that the Z6 III does not. So I don't think you're going to see it through an update. They can optimize the. I mean, yes, but I don't think you're going to get nearly the performance. Giving game. I respect. Thank you, sir. I hope you're doing well. Let's see, random, but which switcher are you using to stream? Oh, ATEM Mini, and then I'm using Ecamm to do the broadcast. The Sigma lenses you mentioned are those Sigma Contemporary. They're the Contemporary f2, but they use the same quality of glass as the Arts, so the f1.4s. Hey, what's up, buddy? Yeah, it's been a while. It'll probably be a while again after that. Yeah, I would say if your main thing is photos, the ZR is probably not the camera for you. Logan, I'd love to see an external EVF attachment for the ZR. Nikon led us to believe through cheeky ways that is very much a possibility. Any thoughts on the Fuji Eterna? Seems like it's a red competitor. I don't think it's a competitor. Other than price, like, I mean, yeah, it's a cinema camera and they compete because they both make awesome images. I think it's an awesome camera. I think it's super cool that we're starting to get into large format filmmaking. Like, we have the Alexa 65, which you can't buy. You can only rent. Same with the 265. Those are huge freaking sensors. And they make for a wild look if you get the right lenses. Same with the 17K from Blackmagic. That's a big deal. Then you've got this GFX Eterna. They're really interesting cameras. I don't see them being really competitors to Red. I think Red is established in the industry way more than Fuji is with a camera on that side of things. Now, Fuji makes excellent glass, so they don't really have any competition there. But it's just good. It's good for the industry. Price was about where I thought. Actually, a little bit lower than what I thought. I thought Fuji was going to price it around 20 grand. So that was cool. Let's see. Catching back up. We've hit that weird spot, which... Okay, there's all the thumbs up. Yes, I just got... Dude, what do you mean? Like, I've only done... There you are. Oh, hey, thanks, Armando. I just got yours. And Zach. Oh, you guys did text. Thanks, guys. Sorry, I'm just now seeing that. Brandon texts me, and he says, I'm going to need you to slow down with the YouTube videos. I can't keep up. I just made 3, and they were all kind of on the same thing. Oh, well, no, that's true. I made 4. Yeah, there were a lot of videos. I was, dude, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Let's see. Here's a great question. What do you think of the image coming out of the Lights Hectors? I think it's wonderful. I think they're beautiful, and I'm currently trying to get them for a project. I don't know if they will send them out. And for what they are, they're pretty darn cheap considering the history of Leica cinema lenses. If you look at other Leica cinema lenses, they're a fraction of the cost. Let's see. Fine. Thanks everybody for the audio stuff. I also got text from Armando here and Zach saying that audio has been fine the entire time. So that's good. That smart shoe is Nikon hinting towards smart add-ons such as, yep. Yeah, I'm stoked they added that. I think that was huge. I know that was a big disappointment when it came to the S9 from Lumix that it didn't have a hot shoe. So I'm really happy that they have that. I love Brandon. Brandon's one of my favorite people. TSMC has upped their silicon game, so we shall see it getting smaller and maybe vapor chambers like flagship iPhones soon. That would be pretty nuts. Definitely help with the cooling. So I will be a one-man band. Great. Thank you for the additional info. No big production, no big marketing. I'm starting a new YouTube channel to film boxing events and maybe other sports in the future. What would you recommend? So what glass do you have right now? Do you have any glass? Glass is such an underrated part of the ecosystem you're trying to be in. Nikon makes excellent glass. Sony makes excellent glass. Sony has way more glass than Nikon does. However, you can put the Sony glass on the Nikon body. This is kind of a tough one because are these events televised? I guess you said it's not a big production. No big production, no big marketing. You know what? I'm gonna go on a limb and actually tell you what I think and make more of a recommendation than being politically correct and not really recommending anything. I think you're gonna get a lot better color out of the Nikon with the R3D. And since you can put Sony glass on it, I would maybe look into Sony glass because it's cheaper. They have more options. You can use the Megadap. Nikon makes phenomenal glass too, but the footprint is bigger. If these aren't big productions, then I would want the most color to work with so you can get really creative. and you're going to get that out of those R3D and E files than you are with the Sony stuff, because they don't offer a raw workflow yet other than B-RAW, which gives you an additional recorder. You can kind of be a little more incognito if you go the Nikon ZR route, because it's just a smaller body with a big screen. You're not putting an additional monitor on it. I shoot a lot of jiu-jitsu, and I like being able to get really creative with the color with all of that information. And the Nikon has phenomenal autofocus. Sony's got arguably the better autofocus, but I think that's where I would lean if it were me. I think the fun part of it can't be ignored. I think if you're just starting out, you want to make a name for yourself, you got to do it enough that you can. And if you're not having fun with it, I don't think you will. And the ZR is just a way more fun camera than the FX3 or the FX30. I haven't shot with those a lot, but my friends have them, and those are usually what I use when I do BTS for them. And they're great cameras as far as they work, but they're not fun, and they really are hard to see. You're kind of like, thank God the autofocus is so good because I can't see shit. Whereas the ZR, you can see everything, and the codec is just really, really good. So that's what I'm going to recommend, man. The screen is spectacular, but the location of the CF Express card isn't. Yeah, it's not optimal, but like I guess I got used to it using my Q2 and my M11P, so it didn't bother me too much. I also shoot Monstro, hey, and I can't live without different aspect ratios, and this is why I passed on the Komodo. So you think the ZR will at least get a widescreen aspect? I don't know. What do you mean you passed on the Komodo? Doesn't the Komodo have aspect ratios? Pretty sure it does. Pretty sure it shoots like a 2:1 and like a 1:1. I think the KX does. Bro, yes. Dude, I just recently, like 2 weeks ago, took my son to a Lord of the Rings marathon extended edition. All 3 movies, extended edition. In one day, in one go of it. It was like 15 hours, including the breaks they gave us. On the Z8 and Z9, I often use autofocus with boundary box or the 3D tracking. I usually only switch to manual focus when focus racking. Yeah, the granular control you get out of a Nikon is wild. It's funny, I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings 2, and when my wife has a hard week and we start our weekend, I always tell her, all we have to do is decide. Nice. That is awesome. I hope she gets it. I'm super excited for the ZR. Just made the switch from the FX3 R3D RAW. Is just too good. It's my favorite codec. It's not the same codec, but R3D is my favorite. It's just the best to work with. Great video. The one you did for the Nikon. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed them, especially the car stuff and the color in these clips. What do you think about dynamic range FX3 level? It's definitely FX3 level. It's not Komodo X level. I would say it's probably a stop and a half. Stop on average, stop and a half difference to the Komodo, and then the colors just aren't quite as good. You're going to see more banding, but it's really good. It's really good. It doesn't make sense how good you shoot it. I know that some of the examples online have been pretty bad. Some of them pretty good, but you shoot with this camera, you're like, why does it look so good? Like, how did they get this much? Holy shit, I caught up to the end of the comments. I mean, I skipped half of them, so it's not like an accomplishment, Brandon. Skylar, I'm still fairly new to Cine lenses. I was primarily an FX3 guy, but now moving on to ZR, should I be looking at PL mounts for Cines? I don't know. I guess it depends on what you want to shoot and where you want your career to go. Like if you're wanting to get more and more into cinema, you should probably use cinema lenses and just realize like there's a huge difference in control when it comes to Cine lenses. They're not the best for like run and gun, single operator stuff, depending on the throw of the lens. It's kind of why I like using this. You still get the throw, but the throw is really, really short. And so like when I was on my Arls, you get a lot of shake to the camera because it's a 270 degree rotation. You're like 1, 2, 3, if you're going from like near to far. So in some cases they're awesome, in some cases they're not like the best. It's kind of hard to say on that one. But the great thing about PLs is they'll go on any camera system. And going from a PL to a mirrorless means, like in this camera. Oh, that camera's dead now? Jesus Christ. What is the point of these giant V mounts running off USB-Cs? Are they just not delivering the power that they should? That freaking sucks. Okay, well, anyway, on this camera, you have a rear-mounted V&D. So when you go from PL to a mirrorless, you can get rear V&Ds, which is very handy. And if I'm running PLs, that's what I want, because having an adjustable V&D right here at your fingertips is almost like having internal NDs. So that is a pro of the PL over an autofocus lens. Would you go for the Pixis 12K? If I used DaVinci, for sure. Off topic, but have you considered having a simultaneous Twitter? Nope. Nope. I hate social media. And if it wasn't my job, I would be off of it entirely. There's no upside for me to spread myself thinner than I already am between YouTube and Instagram. I appreciate it, but no. I'm kind of, I might be limiting myself, but I have to for my own mental health. I'm going to set some parameters, and if you want to see me, those are the parameters that you kind of have to abide by. Does it have a sensor shield? I don't think it does. Oh, she does. She's a fan too. But she doesn't like watching the extended editions. Kofi, wait, did I miss something? Are we back to yes, Kofi. The A cam, just the battery died. The B cam battery has now died, but the A cam battery died. But yes, we're back on. If you still want to join me, even though we've gone for 2.5 hours, Jesus Christ, I would be open to having you come on if you want to. Zero pressure. Talbot, come to Canada so we can do a Nikon ZR versus KX versus Raptor video. Why do I gotta fly all the way to Canada to do that? Technically, you've come here more than I've gone there, so that does seem fair. Are you providing the KX and the Raptor, or do I have to schlep that along too? Maybe I'll bring both. We could do a Monstro too. That would be pretty epic. Yeah, maybe I'll just move to Canada. Tilt is PL to PDA. I think it's wild technology and it's really cool. Dummy battery maybe for next stream. Okay, I'm super confused because I'm using V mounts with a certain amount of power delivery, and I thought for sure they were powering the camera. You can see the little thing. I'm just really impressed that I've been able to go so long that we've necessitated 2 batteries. That's funny. Yeah, I probably should. When you turn IBIS on with an anamorphic lens on the ZR, what happens? IBIS is just on. You're going to get funky shit. That's what's going to happen. If you don't have like IBIS specifically made for anamorphics, you're going to get some weird freaking warping. By the way, can you do live boxing events on a new boxing channel? I don't know what you mean by that. If it's your channel, you can do whatever you want. The drop-in filter is one of the reasons why I'm looking at EF glass. Yep. And it's one of the reasons why I've kept so much of it. I have a bunch of Sigma arts for that very reason. Marathon day. Went and shot some head. And we're still here. We're still going 2.5 hours, buddy. I'm headed to my PT in like 15 minutes. No, it's cool, man. Good luck with your the bladder treatments. I know those have been rough on you. Would you would you sacrifice the internal PL for the new AF-PL adapters that are coming, or would you project? None of my projects are big enough for an AC. Like I'm like nobody is hitting me up being like, Brandon, you're really good. Nobody is. Like it's so weird that like you can make a name for yourself on the internet with like almost no skill. Let's see. I've been contemplating the Tokina Cine lenses, but the Hectors have thrown a wrench on that plant. They have a very unique look, but they are about the same price too, and they're so much smaller than the Tokinas. Y'all are both coming to Houston, right? I'm working on it, Brandon. I couldn't tell you at the time. I still can't tell you. There is a project that I got asked to do. We are currently in the state of finalizing for budget. And if that project goes through, I will be shooting basically immediately till the end of October. What's cool is if it does go through, you will probably see it. It honestly is kind of like a dream project of mine. But if it does go through, since it wraps at the end of October, I'm not sure if I will be available to go or not. So I will do everything in my power to go, Brandon, is what I'm telling you. But there is a chance because of this project I won't be able to. Let's see. And I have the KX and Raptor here at the rental house. Sweet. Then I will just bring my Monstro because that would be fun. Yes, Kofi. I am, but I might have to fly out. So it'll be more like a strain. Let's see. I guess OpenGate eats more power. It does. Can you guys please do that video between the ZR and the KX? I'm going to do it regardless because I have the KX here. I don't need Kofi for it. It would just be more fun with Kofi. And because of the new collaboration that you can do on YouTube, that would be really cool just to test that out. Can you guys, yes. So can you not turn IBIS off? No. Once IBIS is on, you can't really turn it off and lock it down. You would need a camera that doesn't have IBIS. Suggestions on a shotgun mic. The Rode NTG5, I constantly get compliments on. It is such a phenomenal mic, and it doesn't cost $1,000. If the dates move, I'll stay the week. Kofi's, you're just a good guy. There is an offsetting on that. Yes, but the sensor still moves around. Mac, years of playing professional sports has made me weirdly good, and just the ADH brain makes me quicker than most. My wife hates it. I just destroy her all the time when it comes to shit talking. Loved your video. Shooting in the neighborhood. Thank you so much. That was just like a fun video that I did, and I had no idea it was going to resonate with people. So, Paul, I'm stoked you loved it. Listen, people, 2.5 hours is an hour longer than I thought I was going to make it. And today has been amazing. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you so much for the attendance. I'm willing to go a little bit longer, but I also have to go to the bathroom. So if you've got questions, let's hurry and throw them in there. I'll say another 5. We'll go another 5 minutes. And then I'm going to peace out because I haven't really eaten much other than that freaking Hot Pocket. And no adult should subside off a single Hot Pocket. Let's see. NTG5 is the GOAT because it's the most lightweight and humidity proof for the price. I didn't know that about the humidity, but really, I had 3 people hit me up yesterday and they're like, your voiceover sounded amazing. And then when I did my Hasselblad video, so many people commented on the audio, and it's really just NTG5 straight into the KX. KX has incredible preamps. The IBIS thing is the reason why the C50 is a huge deal for Canon. Yeah, like some people are really miffed, but because it doesn't have IBIS, if you're somebody that wants to fly it on a drone or do any sort of like hard mounted like car shots, it's just going to look way better. I did. I played professional volleyball, and then I tried my hand at bobsled, which was very short-lived. I have no Nikon glass. They are big. I don't like big glass, but do there are 3 to final. I will not be doing live events. Gotcha. Yeah, I would look at third-party Sony lenses like Tamron, Viltrox, because you can pick them up for cheap. They're super small. You can get the Mega adapter, put it on the Nikon ZR, and you would have a killer kit. Well, I don't have bladder problems. That's just what happens to people, Kofi, when they don't go to the bathroom for 4 hours. And I was just joking. I could have said a lot worse, man. I could have been like that penis, enlargement operation that you're trying to get done, or something like that. But I went with something much more tame. Oh, so then we need to hope they give anamorphic IBIS support for the ZR. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, I mean, it would be great, but like so far, Panasonic is the only person that has it. You don't. I would not say you want to go running around like this with your camera when you're using an anamorphic lens, because you can introduce some really weird jello if you're using an IBIS. Thanks for your time, Rainey. My pleasure. ZR good for low light for a short horror film. I think where I would look at CVP's video, because they did do some low light tests. We shot at like high noon sun. I mean, it was 5 o'clock, but it was still really high. We definitely did not try any low light stuff. We didn't have the time to. Maybe in the future they can develop a mechanical sensor lock when IBIS is disabled. That would be fantastic. You and Uncle Kofi agreed about getting the Nikon ZR. Oh, okay, that's what Kofi recommended. Gotcha. Well, Kofi's smart. We did. I pre-ordered mine in Canada. I keep the Z. Okay, wait a sec. I keep the Z. Oh, that's what he's. Shit, 7 minutes late to a conference call. Sorry, buddy. Have a good one. Thanks again for the super chat. That was way too kind of you, Mac. Nikkor glass is amazing. My favorite lens right now. And I've heard that is a fantastic lens. I would really, me personally, I would love to try the Plano lens and that 28 to 135, because everything I've seen off it looks gorgeous. Also, I really want to do the Z mount conversion to this, because you can power the zooms through it, which you could do some wild stuff through the Red Control app. Bro, you around 11 now. It's 1 a.m. Love to see you more in the future. Good night. Dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you had a good time. Any thoughts on the Nikon RAW to Red RAW that's going around? Yeah, it's like kind of a way to hack your way into a similar color workspace situation, but I don't use DaVinci, so I'm not like the best person to ask. I'm sorry. That's kind of out of my realm of expertise. I don't really have any expertise in any realm. Anyway, I was in the unit. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. I have that new Nikon 28 to 135 PZ. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, from the stuff Andy X shot with it looked amazing. Nikon's new slogan: Nikon, there's red in there somewhere. Promise. You always have good takes. Have you had a chance to use the Nikkor? I have not. I have not used any Nikon glass other than what's on my Z6 III, which is the, let's see, as everything goes. So the lens they let me borrow, because I'm just borrowing this. I have to send it back in like 2 weeks. This is the 24 to 70 f4S. Great little compact lens. I don't like that clicky though. I don't like the engage. That is annoying to me. I don't like that. But it's a good lens. And then I use the new 24 to 70, the internal zoom ones. That's a phenomenal lens. Turin Horse. No idea what kind of camera it was shot on, but it looks phenomenal. We'll have to check it out. Do the new R3D work in Final Cut? It does not. And I'm hoping it will soon. You put it into Red Cine X, like a beta version that Nikon can give you, and then you can transcode it, but it does not work natively. Maybe that's why I haven't noticed, because I shoot with both. Gotcha. All right, everybody. I actually made it through it. This was incredible. Thank you so much. I had a blast. 2.5 hours flew by. Thank you for everybody that attended. I will be shouting out the Discord soon. And so you can hop on there. It'd be awesome to start building that up. I just want it to be a lot of fun. And then there will be a very low paywall for the footage access. That will be both in photos and video. And I'm also going to, if you want to know what gear I am currently selling, because I talked about this at the start of the stream, just hit me up with the DM and I'll send you the list of everything that I'm selling. But that's it. You guys were awesome. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate it. And we will maybe do another one of these at some point, especially if I can get one of my friends on. It's just way more fun when you can get your friends involved. So thanks again, guys. I will catch you later. Have a great weekend. Peace.